Hello, beloved Libra. Let me ask you something that may change how you see everything. What if the dreams you've been having aren't dreams at all but a spiritual warning from a mother's soul who never truly left your side? This is Zodiac Whisper Tarot, and if you're here, it's not by accident. The universe called you here today for a reason. Something unseen yet deeply felt has been guiding you. Maybe it was a quiet dream, a wave of emotion that made no sense, or a moment of déjà vu that clung to your spirit like mist. Whatever led you here, trust this: the message you're about to receive has been 20 years in the making. In this reading, we'll explore the presence of a sacred mother, perhaps your birth mother, your grandmother, or a maternal soul from beyond who is trying to break through the veil to reach you. She's not just appearing in visions to comfort you. No. She's here to warn you. For 2 decades, a shadowed energy, a hidden witch figure has quietly manipulated your fate, feeding off your heart's confusion, your setbacks in love, and the stops and starts in your path to abundance. This entity works through spiritual interference, subtle emotional drains, and karmic bindings that have kept you circling the same lessons. But today, that changes. This is not just a tarot reading, it's a soul awakening. It's a cosmic checkpoint where you finally see the strings that have held you back and remember the power that's always been yours. Astrologically, we are under a profound opposition. The moon transiting Scorpio sits directly across from Venus in Libra. This alignment stirs deep revelations. Secrets hidden in the dark are being pulled to the surface, and spiritual truths are rising from within your emotional core. And Libra, this energy is lighting up your chart in ways that can no longer be ignored. Today, I'll guide you to reconnect with that sacred mother spirit. I'll show you how to cut energetic cords that don't belong to you, and how to reclaim the love, freedom, and fortune that were always meant to be yours. But before we begin, let me take a moment to thank you truly. Your presence here means everything. Every like, every heartfelt comment, every new subscriber brings you deeper into this soul family we're building at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Your support is what fuels this channel and helps us share these transformative messages with those who need them most. And trust me, dear Libra, you'll want to stay with me until the very end, because what the universe is revealing today is nothing short of divine. The Spirit doesn't need you to understand everything at once. She only needs you to be open, to listen, and to take one step toward the light. So tell me, what brought you here, really? Drop the number 27 in the comments if you feel the pull of something greater, something that whispers, you were meant to hear this. Let's begin. Sometimes the truth doesn't reveal itself in lightning bolts, it whispers through patterns that repeat, through emotions that won't settle, through dreams that feel more real than waking life. And if you've ever wondered why some areas of your life feel mysteriously blocked, as if something always slips through your fingers no matter how hard you try, this is the space where we begin to understand why. The High Priestess reversed appears in your reading today not as a gentle guide, but as a warning, an invitation to look behind the veil of illusion. Upright, she is intuition, sacred knowledge, divine femininity. But reversed, her energy turns shadowed, manipulative, hidden behind masks and veils. She doesn't offer guidance, she obscures it. She represents a force, likely in feminine form, that has been working from behind the scenes for a very long time, casting confusion not just in your mind, but into the very flow of your fate. What does this mean for you, dear Libra? For nearly 20 years, a woman driven not by love, but by envy has used spiritual distortion to block your light. She may not be physically present in your life anymore, or perhaps you don't even realize who she is. But her energetic signature lingers. Through rituals under the new moon, karmic inversions, or emotional implants placed through shared spaces, dreams, or even heart chakra interference, she has managed to tether parts of your soul to frequencies that don't belong to you. And how do you know this might be affecting you? You felt it. In the moments when love felt just out of reach, when money came and vanished like smoke, when you couldn't explain the emotional heaviness that clung to you despite the healing you've done. Maybe it came through insomnia, through breakups that made no sense, through long periods of feeling disconnected from your own intuition. These are not failures, they are symptoms. Not of weakness, but of unseen entanglement. It's important to know that this isn't about placing blame or feeding fear. This is about reclaiming clarity. Just as the stars rotate through their cycles, so do we, and you, Libra, ruled by Venus, are being asked to restore balance in the one place that matters most, your energetic truth. When the moon meets Scorpio, especially in opposition to your ruling planet, Venus, it stirs the depths. Scorpio is the keeper of secrets, power, and transformation. It shines a light on what's been hidden, not to punish, but to free. This is the cosmic moment to wake up. The mother spirit you felt, the one who reached out in your dreams, is urging you now. You've been held down long enough, she says. Not in anger, but in love. Because now is the time to rise, to understand that what was meant to limit you can no longer hold power if you choose awareness. And sometimes, the most sacred advice doesn't need ceremony or flame. It simply reminds you, you are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become next. The path forward is not in retaliation, but in restoration. Even scripture gently teaches us not with force, but with wisdom to guard the heart, for from it flows the essence of life. This is that moment for you. Guard your heart, but don't close it. Cleanse it, but keep it open for what is truly yours. There's no need to chase justice in the world outside when you begin to bring it back inside. The true battle is not against another, it's against the agreement, conscious or not, that allowed your power to be misdirected. And now, you get to cancel that agreement. So breathe with me. Feel your center. Your intuition is returning. And so is your choice. You were never lost, only misled. Now you begin again, not in fear, but in light. Sometimes the messages that matter most don't arrive with thunder or flashing lights. They show up softly in moments of stillness, in scents that come and go without explanation, in the kind of dreams that linger like morning mist, refusing to fade. After everything you've already begun to uncover, the presence you felt in your dreams, that quiet woman dressed in white or soft blue, reaching out without words, is not a coincidence. It's a sign. And it's time to pay attention. The Queen of Cups and Judgment appearing together is not only rare but deeply symbolic. The Queen of Cups embodies the nurturing essence of emotional intelligence, the kind that knows without needing proof. She is gentle but wise, tender but aware. She represents the emotional imprint of a mother figure, one who may no longer be physically present but remains woven into your energetic field, guiding and protecting you through more than just memory. When paired with Judgment, her message becomes even clearer. This is a wake-up call. A call not to fear what's been lost, but to rise toward what's waiting. You may have recently felt emotions come in waves: sudden sadness, a gentle ache in the heart, or a sense of being watched over. Perhaps you've smelled jasmine or warm milk in a room with no flowers, no tea, no reason. These are not just weird moments. These are emotional breadcrumbs, gentle nudges from the unseen. The kind of signs we tend to rationalize away until we realize they repeat. And when signs repeat, it means a choice must be made. Under the lens of the law of attraction, energy always finds resonance. What you're attracting now, especially the presence of this maternal energy, is not random. Her love is magnetic, pulling you toward clarity, toward the version of yourself you were before the confusion set in. The mother presence is not here to hold your hand through every step. She's here to remind you that you've always known how to walk, you just forgot where you were going. And maybe that's because, for too long, your heart has been linked to something that never truly belonged to you. Whether it was an old belief about your worth, a dynamic that fed on your empathy, or the unspoken expectation that your needs come last, you've been carrying energy that was never meant to stay. Her message is clear: you are still under the influence of a bond that was not made in light. And though her love protects, shields, and whispers, she cannot make the decision for you. This is where your free will becomes everything. Even the most divine love cannot override your right to choose. Just like rain can fall around a house but only waters the plants where the window is open, this guidance requires your participation. You are not helpless. You are powerful beyond measure. And the moment you acknowledge that, truly see that, is the moment everything begins to shift. In moments like these, a simple truth rings louder than fear: you were never meant to carry this alone. But you were meant to choose when to set it down. And while no one can make that choice for you, you are not walking into the unknown, you're walking home to yourself. In faith traditions, there's a gentle reminder: sometimes you're led into the wilderness not to be punished, but to find silence so you can finally hear your own voice again. You are not being tested. You are being invited. Invited to soften, to release, to allow something new to take root. So if your heart's been heavy, let this be the moment you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start wondering, "What is this trying to free me from?" Because you, dear Libra, are not broken. You are being recalibrated. And the love that watches over you, whether you call it mother, memory, or intuition, is cheering you forward, not back. You don't need to know the full path. You only need to take the next step in light. What you've uncovered so far has asked a lot of you emotionally, spiritually, even energetically. It's not easy to look into the past and realize how long your steps may have been influenced by energies that were never truly yours. But now that the veil has lifted, you stand at a powerful threshold. The presence of the Queen of Cups and Judgment guided you inward to feel what's been hidden. Now, the Justice card appears to remind you, you have the right to reclaim your path. Justice is the card of Libra, is your mirror, your higher self reflected back with honesty and clarity. It reminds you that balance is not something gifted to you by others. It is something you restore from within, one conscious choice at a time. And it begins by acknowledging what has been true all along: there has been a distortion, something heavy, something dark. This isn't about dramatizing it. It's about finally refusing to deny it. Step 1 in your healing is no longer shrinking from the possibility that you've been influenced by forces that didn't serve your soul. You cannot heal what you're unwilling to name. From here, you step into sacred release. That's what cutting energetic cords is truly about, not rage, not blame, but clarity. When you recognize that something or someone no longer belongs in your energetic field, your soul gently unhooks. This can be as symbolic as lighting a candle and whispering the intention to return what's not yours, or as mindful as breathing deeply while visualizing a soft light dissolving the ties that bind. If the mother presence is still with you in feeling, call her in as a guide. She may not say much, but you will feel her strength in the steadiness of your choice. She wants you free, not just protected. As you move through this release, allow your environment to reflect your intention. Turquoise is your ally. Know it restores truth and calms the emotional body. Soft white reminds you of purity and a clean start. Amber, with its grounding warmth, absorbs residual energy and gives you back your sense of centeredness. If you work with crystals, labradorite will shield you during this transformation, while clear quartz will amplify your decision to reclaim your light. And if your voice has ever felt small, use it now. Speak this aloud if it resonates. I return what does not belong to me. I choose the light. Say it when you wake up. Say it when you feel doubt creeping back in. It's not a spell. It's a declaration. It tells the universe you are no longer available for anything that doesn't honor your truth. But the work doesn't stop at letting go. To truly shift your vibration, you must plant something new in the space that's been cleared. Step into the practice of forgiveness, not for them, but for you. Forgiveness is not the same as forgetting, it's choosing peace over resentment. And every time you choose peace, your energetic frequency rises. You step closer to the version of yourself who is free, who is whole, who remembers what it's like to believe again. Take this moment to reconnect with what you want, not what you fear. Write it down. Speak it. Visualize it. This is the law of attraction, not as a trend, but as a spiritual law. What you vibrate, you draw. The universe does not respond to panic. It responds to clarity. And there's one more thing the Justice card gently nudges you toward, an old dream. Something you once wanted but set aside, perhaps because someone convinced you it was too much, or you weren't enough. Go back to it. Look at it with fresh eyes. Not everything from the past is meant to be discarded. Some things were simply paused until you were strong enough to carry them forward on your own terms. Remember, dear Libra, even in divine teachings, we are reminded to cast off burdens that were never ours and to walk forward in truth, with love and self-respect. This isn't about proving anything. It's about living with the kind of peace that no one can take from you. You've done the hard part. Now, it's time to choose what comes next. And this time you choose it for you. Healing doesn't always look like peace. Sometimes it begins with awareness, a realization that the energy has shifted, that something you once carried no longer lives within you. After all the emotional unraveling, after the courage it took to acknowledge what needed to be released and the strength it took to reclaim your light, you now stand before a softer kind of power, the opportunity to receive. And this, Libra, is where the universe meets your transformation with tangible signs of renewal. The appearance of the star in your reading is a sacred message. It follows the tower in the tarot, meaning, after breakdown comes breakthrough. This card is a promise, a calm after the storm, a signal that even though the sky may have cracked open in the past, your spirit still knows how to shine. The star is hope, but not blind hope. It's the hope that emerges from clarity, from doing the work, from standing in your own truth. And now that you've chosen to cut those energetic ties, to reset your frequency, the universe begins to respond in kind. Over the next 7 weeks, you may begin to feel a slow but steady shift. Not just emotionally, but practically. The Eight of Pentacles is a clear indication that your efforts, especially those tied to work, stability, or creative pursuits, are about to bear fruit. Something that was once lost, perhaps a financial opportunity or a project that slipped through your fingers, is making its way back to you. But here's the key: this time, you'll meet it with readiness. Because this time, you are no longer burdened by self-doubt or outside interference. What returns to you now does so because you've created space for it to grow. And then, there is the Two of Cups. For some, this speaks to a romantic connection, one that feels genuine, equal, nourishing. For others, it may come as a soulmate in another form, a business partner, a dear friend, a soul bond that heals by reflecting your worth back to you. But it's important to understand, this person could not appear fully while your energy was still entangled in the past. They are drawn to your light, and now that it's shining more clearly, that connection becomes inevitable. Astrologically, the days ahead offer more than just potential, they offer alignment. The dates June 10th, 11th, and 14th mark energetic gateways where intentions are magnified and blessings are more easily received. These days may bring clarity, meetings, or subtle inner nudges. Pay attention. And for those who work with numbers, the divine frequencies of 6, 11, and 24 are vibrational echoes of healing, alignment, and new beginnings. If you see them, don't just smile, take a breath and remember that you are on track. In the chart of Libra right now, there is a gentle sense of protection, as if something or someone is holding space for your heart to mend. In sacred teachings, we're often reminded that true healing doesn't come by rushing forward, but by tending to what is tender. The energy of Raphael, the guardian of healing and relationships, surrounds your chart like a soft hand over an open wound. This is not about being saved, this is about being supported while you choose to grow. But even amidst all this beauty, there is a quiet warning. If the choices are ignored, if the patterns are repeated out of fear or comfort, this cycle could extend not just emotionally, but energetically for another 9 years. That doesn't mean you'll suffer. It simply means that some lessons may circle again until you're truly ready to meet them. But that's not the path you're on now. Not anymore. Because if you've come this far, it means you've already chosen to listen. You've already decided that your truth matters more than your fear. And from that one sacred decision, everything changes. The mother presence that once whispered is now guiding. You are no longer in the dark, you are being led toward light, with every step you take in faith. So let the healing unfold. Let the door open. You don't have to force anything. You only have to remain open to the goodness that's been waiting for you all along. And when it arrives, let yourself receive it fully, freely, without apology. You've earned that grace. And so here we are, dear Libra, at the end of this message, but perhaps at the very beginning of something much greater. You've walked through memories, mirrored emotions, and revelations that weren't easy to face. But within that journey, you discovered what many overlook: the power to choose again. Not from fear. Not from habit. But from truth. These past 20 years may have been clouded by confusion, detours, and unseen influences, but now, you hold the map. And more importantly, you hold the pen. The cycles that once kept you repeating patterns you didn't understand are breaking. Why? Because you chose to look within. Because you stopped running. Because you dared to believe that maybe, just maybe, the whispers in your soul were trying to guide you back to yourself all along. This journey was never truly about a hidden witch or even a mother spirit. Those were only symbols, sacred messengers on the path. The real story has always been you. A Libra soul, gentle yet strong, intuitive yet logical, who strayed from their light not out of weakness, but out of love and trust. And now, you are waking up to something much deeper, your right to live a life that's truly yours. A life where you are no longer bound to anyone else's fears, manipulations, or old agreements. So ask yourself now, what does freedom actually look like for me? Is it peace in your heart after years of overthinking? Is it the return of passion in your work? The soft, steady presence of a love that sees you clearly? What would it feel like to finally believe that you're worthy of all of it, not because you've earned it through pain, but because you were always enough? The next 20 days are a sacred window. A time of alignment. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Not to rush, not to panic, but to begin again, mindfully. Start with small acts of truth. Cut the cords. Write down what you really want, not what others told you to want. Light a candle. Speak your intention out loud. Open your palms and say, I choose the light. I choose my freedom. You don't have to see the full staircase right now. Just take the next step. And when fear whispers again, because it will remind yourself, fear is not your truth. Love is. Alignment is. Your timing is not late. It's divine. And if you felt even the smallest flicker of a sacred presence guiding you through this message, a maternal energy, or a deeper knowing in your body, honor it. You don't need to explain it. Just say thank you. And then, keep walking. Before you go, I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me walk beside you through this story. Every like, every comment, every subscription helps this space grow, and allows us to continue sharing these cosmic reflections with souls like you who are ready to rise. Zodiac Whisper Tarot isn't just a channel, it's a sanctuary for those who hear the call of something greater. So if this message touched you, if you felt seen, remembered, or guided, I invite you to comment below with the words, I choose light and freedom. Let that affirmation echo into the universe, and let your vibration anchor it into being. And if the presence of a loving mother energy stirred something in you, if you felt her in your chest, in your breath, in the quiet moments between my words, please like this video to honor that connection. And of course, subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot to keep receiving messages like these, drawn from the stars, guided by wisdom, and delivered to support your highest path. Until next time, keep listening. Keep choosing. The light is already within you. All you have to do now is trust it and follow.